Hey there, my investing curious friends. Welcome to Opening Bid. I'm Brian Sozzi, Yahoo Finance's executive editor. Thank you for joining us either on YouTube, Yahoo Finance, Spotify, iHeartMedia, Pandora, or Amazon Music. If you're loving Opening Bid, hit us with those likes and fire off your questions and hot takes on X at Brian Sozzi and at Yahoo Finance. We are here to help and make you a better investor. Now let's make some money and get you even smarter. Hello and welcome to Amazon Web Services CEO, Adam Selipsky. Adam, so great to see you. It is just really fast times, lots of amazing things happening at Amazon. Thank you for joining us. We really appreciate it.
It's great to be with you. No lack of things going on, and look forward to talking about them.
We have a lot to talk about, but should I be calling it AWS or is it Amazon Web Services? Give it to me straight here.
Either way, it's fine. Technically, it's Amazon Web Services, but we also AWS, and I think that's what most of our customers say. So that's going to work well.
All right, we heard it here first. I know it's how you mentioned it on the earnings release, so I figured let's just stay all aligned. So talk to us about what is it like running a business that is now at a $100 billion annual run rate? That is just a mind-blowing number that I don't think even people realize how much AWS has grown.
It is, I think it's a notable milestone this quarter that we just announced a few days ago. AWS did hit the $100 billion annualized revenue run rate milestone. And not many tech companies have done that, so I do think it's noteworthy. We also accelerated our growth rate yet again and hit 17% year-over-year growth. And in terms of major cloud providers, we actually think if you just look at quarter-over-quarter absolute dollar growth, we think we grew more quarter-over-quarter than any other major cloud provider. So there's a lot of positive indicators for the business. We feel optimistic about the business outlook for AWS. There's a lot of things powering that in terms of the things that our customers need and our ability to deliver on them. And it's a big operation now, but we're really focused, as we have been since the first day we opened our doors at AWS 18 years ago, on just understanding what our customers need and getting it to them as fast as we possibly can.
When you came back to AWS, did you see the business eventually hitting $100 billion in annualized sales?
Well, I think when before we launched, when I was here in 2005 in the pre-revenue days, and we'd go around sort of hat in hand looking for help from other Amazon teams, and we would say, we think AWS could be the next billion-dollar business at Amazon. And some people would look at us kind of questioningly and wonder if that was possible.
Where are those people now, Adam? Where are those people now?
A lot of them are very successful and still here. But I think we all thought that AWS was a great idea and could, in time, in fact, grow to be the largest business at Amazon. And we still think that's true. So I think we could envision it, but I don't think any of us understood that the business could grow this big, this quickly. But when over the last few years, I think if you just look at our growth rates and the size of business that it was, I think you could see that we would grow to not only $100 billion, but well beyond. And that it's really important that we have the products, that we have the go-to-market assistance for our customers, and critically that we keep our culture intact and always keep that day one mentality of always putting customers and always putting innovation first.
It's not often we get to talk to leaders such as yourself, Adam, that were really on the ground floor of something special like this. So in those early days that you just mentioned, when you were going around hat in hand, talking to other Amazon team members, how did you go upon laying the groundwork and building consensus and then ultimately going on to build a business like this?
I think it started from trying to understand and express to ourselves as well as to our first potential external customers the problem that everybody inside of Amazon and developers outside of Amazon faced. And at that time, we talked about it as being the muck of infrastructure, the undifferentiated heavy lifting. We could see internally at Amazon that our developers were spending 70% of their time on undifferentiated activities like storage and partitioning databases and provisioning compute, and only 30% of their time adding value to customers. So the images team on images, the order pipeline team on the actual order pipeline. And we wanted to flip that 70-30 into 30-70 and make sure that internally at Amazon that our developers could spend 70% of their time or more adding value to customers. And we very quickly saw that the same was true for every other organization in the world, and that there are very few companies who are really good at running infrastructure. And we happened to be good at it because we'd had to build that capability for Amazon. So I think it was really easy for all of our other partner divisions and teams at Amazon to see how much this was going to help them to build this shared layer of infrastructure services. And it very quickly became apparent to all sorts of external potential customers, from startups on up through big enterprises, that this was going to be a very different and a breakthrough and a revolutionary way of not only doing infrastructure, but therefore of empowering their speed and their agility and powering their entire businesses.
Well, what did that day-to-day look like for you? I mean, were you just sleeping in the office? I mean, the business has been a rocket ship.
Well, look, we have a whole crew of really motivated, really hardworking people. Of course, we always talk about work-life harmony and making sure that we're in it for the long term and that people can sustain themselves. And I think all of us, there's probably days or weeks where we're more intense, and then others a little bit less so. And so I think we've got a good rhythm and understand that we're building a business that it should outlast all of us. And so we have to build the capabilities that'll last for a long time. But there's no doubt our team's been incredibly motivated, and that's just driven by wanting to deliver absolutely the very leading edge capabilities for customers. And that's been true for over 18 years now. And I think it's something that we're proud of.
From what I could tell, and correct me if I'm wrong, I don't work in Amazon, but you nailed essentially 2 Andy Jassy interviews. I mean, he hired you first time, and then he hired you back. I mean, what was that interview process like?
Amazon has a very thorough interview process. So when I came here in 2005, interviewed not only with Andy, but a number of other pretty senior people at the company. And I was really glad that it was a thorough interview process, and helped me learn more about the company, and also prove to me how serious the company was about this brand new business that, at the time there was no popular term cloud computing. We called it Amazon Web Services, and we talked about modular units of developer functionality, and we launched our first real service, the simple storage service S3, in March of 2006, and 6 months later we launched EC2, our compute service, in August of 2006. And EC2 stood for the Elastic Compute Cloud, and it was in the wake of releasing EC2 in the ensuing year that the world, more so than us, started calling what we were doing cloud computing. And it just became the easiest way for people to understand what this web services thing was about. So it took a little while, but we kind of embraced and adopted it as well, and it became known as cloud computing.
Essential to all this, and we have a lot to get to on where the business is today and where it's going. I imagine it's culture. I mean, you can't achieve some of the things that you're achieving, your teams, even the retail side of the business, without the right culture. How would you define Amazon's culture as we sit here in 2024?
Well, it's there's no one term that I can use to describe the whole culture, but we do talk a lot about maintaining our day one culture. And a day one culture means that you think and you act like a startup. You're always thinking about what is it that we can build, what's new, what problems, most important of all, that customers have, can we go and solve? And we go and solve those problems regardless of any other implications. That's opposed to a day two culture where you act like an incumbent, not an insurgent. And when you start thinking about protecting your own revenue streams and the things that you have in place and how to grow those, as opposed to how to delight customers. I think that really encapsulates it best. Now, we do have this very robust and important set of what we call leadership principles. We have 16 leadership principles. They're things like invent and simplify, which is all about innovation, customer obsession, insist on the highest standards. And those are not just placeware. Those are things which are alive and well. We interview for them. We do performance reviews based on them. We use them in our daily and our weekly language. And I think those leadership principles form the operating system of Amazon. And even as we grow and have more people, obviously, at the company than we had years ago, It's what binds us all together and still makes us Amazon.
You know, we in the media, Adam, we're always talking about it's Amazon versus Microsoft versus Google. Everybody's trying to get a piece of the cloud share. But as a leader, do you wake up every day saying, I must take market share from Microsoft and Google? I must end the day more successful than the day I was before?
Actually, I very specifically do not do that. Amazon really has always had a very predominantly customer-focused strategy. In fact, we sometimes say you shouldn't wake up scared of your competitors, but you should go to bed every night petrified that you'll disappoint your customers. And so we spent the vast majority of our time kind of trying to deeply understand our customers, what specific needs and specific services do they have, and then how can we rapidly deliver new capabilities, which, by the way, will mean we'll do it faster and better than anybody else. And if we do that, we think we will create a great business. And we spend really a very small percentage of our time obsessing over what competitors are doing. And it's just a different business strategy. I think many companies do have a very competitive focused business strategy. And I'm not saying it doesn't work well for them. There are a lot of different successful business strategies, but that's not Amazon's strategy. We have always been, and I believe will always be, a customer obsessed organization. That's what dominates our thinking. And that's who we want to hire, is people who think similarly.
What are customers coming to you now for? Is it just, I need something with AI. I don't know what it is, but I want Amazon to give it to me?
I think there's a few different things that are currently fueling that AWS growth that we talked about. One is, for many years, I think it's been increasingly obvious that gravity will push IT, will push workloads to the cloud. The benefits for security, for operational performance, for cost, most importantly for agility and business invention, will push most workloads to the cloud in the fullness of time. And you really saw that happen in an uninterrupted fashion for a long time. And then post-pandemic, with inflation and wars and supply chain disruption and interest rates, a lot of companies started doing what we'll say is cost optimization. And I think really slowing down some of those cloud migrations and modernizations of their infrastructure. And what we've seen over the past, we'll call it couple quarters, is that's starting to accelerate again, and companies getting back to, hey, we know which way gravity works. We really want to get back to these modernizations and IT transformations and moving to the cloud. And really today, probably, it's hard to really know, but say 15% of IT is probably in the cloud, which is a large amount because there's a lot of IT out there, but that leaves probably 85% of IT, which is still on premises. And the vast majority of that is going to move to the cloud. So those migrations and those transformations are reaccelerating. And then on top of that, you've got this whole generative AI wave. And we certainly believe that generative AI is transformative. It is going to fundamentally change pretty much every application that you and I deal with, whether it's professionally or whether it's personally. And we at this point have a multi-billion-dollar annualized AI business at Amazon, and that's growing very rapidly. And we've developed and released lots and lots of incredible capabilities, including several just over the past week or two. We're moving really fast and feel really optimistic about what our customers are already doing and are going to do with generative AI. So I think that is going to be a really important business driver as well in the future.
All right, if you are watching us on streaming platforms, we're heading for a quick break. Everyone else, stay with us. We are still rocking our 24 minutes today as usual. Adam, you made a really great point on the business that's still on premise. So as a lot of that business moves to the cloud and as AI becomes even more prevalent in our society, why can't your business double over the next decade? Or is that even underestimating its potential?
I think our business is if we execute well, if we understand what customers want and we continue to deliver at the pace that we've historically delivered, I think that our business will be in great shape. We're optimistic about the business outlook for AWS, and I think it can continue to grow really rapidly. I don't really see an upper limit on it. Of course, it's not our birthright. It's not guaranteed. And will only be as successful as what we do tomorrow for customers. Big part of that is being highly secure. Another big piece about that is operational excellence, being up and available and reliable. And I think there's some people who say, oh, they're all these big companies, big cloud providers, they're probably all the same, right? I'm here to tell you that all clouds are not the same.
What makes them different? What makes them different?
Well, I think if from day one and through to today, and it'll be the same tomorrow, at AWS, we always say that security is job zero. We build everything with security built in from day one. And very closely following that is operational excellence, being up, being performant, being reliable. And only after that do we get to think about building customer features. And we love building customer features, but it simply has to take a backseat to those other things. And so for people who've been paying attention, if you look at both the operational issues and very importantly, some of the significant security issues that folks have perceived for some of our big competitors over the past year, these are things that you got to look at. And we are never arrogant about security nor about operational performance. And we're intentionally paranoid about it every day. But I will also say it's not a coincidence that AWS has had such a strong track record in both security and operational excellence. And we're maniacally focused on continuing to make sure that's true.
Outside of AWS, Adam, because I think a lot of people are going to hear this and they may be wondering, well, how secure is the cloud? So sweep away AWS for a second, looking at other clouds, how secure are these clouds? And, is that a concern of yours that they're not necessarily secure and data is breached? How do you see it?
Well, again, I'm only going to speak for AWS. I won't speak for other companies. I will say that there have been reports written, and there has been, I think, some legitimate concern about where is your data truly secure, and we take that incredibly seriously in AWS. And as I said, we have a very strong track record in security. I think that we have a lot of validation that AWS is the most secure place for your data to be. And whether you're talking about privacy or data security, we have everyone from many U.S. federal agencies in the defense area, intelligence community, civilian agencies, through to the largest and most sophisticated enterprises in the world, and financial services, and in retail, and in life sciences and healthcare, on to the what's still the hottest startups and fastest growing startups in the world running on AWS. And they all trust AWS for security and for privacy. And I think it is because of our track record and our demonstrated capabilities.
What's your biggest concern around AI?
I think that there's a lot to be focused on and concerned with in AI, because it is such a big wave and is going to be transformational. I think there's a couple of things. One of which is it's moving so quickly. It would be easy to anticipate wrong, to guess wrong, and to build the wrong things that don't turn out to be exactly what customers need the most. And so it's really important for us to be incredibly close to our customers. And we have an advantage in that we have these deep multi-year relationships with not only the leading startups, but with big enterprises, in financial services. That's National Australia Bank and Capital One and JP Morgan Chase and HBSC and many others, Santander. And that's just financial services. You can kind of go through those same type of lists in other industries. And I think they keep us on track. They tell us what we need to build. And again, it's not just them. It's the hottest startups in the world, the Anthropics, the Perplexities, the Poolsides, the Hugging Faces, who really help to determine our roadmap. So I think that's one issue, is making sure that we get it right. Customers need a lot in a short period of time, and we really have to deliver. And then the second is responsible AI and AI safety, and making sure that we do our part as leaders to ensure that customers can use AI responsibly. And we've built a lot of features in that automatically promote AI safety and responsible AI into the services that we're releasing. I think that's one of a few big reasons why so many customers, tens of thousands of customers, are now using services like Amazon Bedrock to manage and use their AI models.
In your latest earnings release, Adam, one word stood out to me out of all the words on that page and numbers, It was Nvidia. Now, you have a long-time partnership with Nvidia. Is Nvidia a national treasure? And I'm not trying to be funny, because there's so much reliance on the chips that Nvidia produces. And from the outside looking in, it really does look like they have a leadership position for many years to come.
Well, NVIDIA's done a great job, and we're close partners with NVIDIA. Just pulling back a step, the chips that are used to power compute that runs generative AI is really important. And as with pretty much every part of our business, we have multiple options for customers, and we really believe in customer choice. So we've been partnering with NVIDIA since, I want to say, 2010. If you look at pretty much any new significant chip from NVIDIA, it's been available first on AWS in the cloud. That is true to this day. And in fact, NVIDIA just announced with me on stage at our most recent reInvent customer conference that they are building their own supercomputer, in Jensen's words, their own supercomputer on AWS to run NVIDIA's own internal R&D. And so that is how I know that AWS is the best place in the world to run NVIDIA GPUs. At the same time, it's incredibly important to have choice. AWS for years has invested successfully, very successfully, in designing our own custom silicon, our own chips. We started with Graviton, which is for general purpose computing, and now we're into our second generations of generative AI chips, both Trainium for training workloads and Inferentia for running workloads in production. And they're both very successful, both growing rapidly. We think both are going to offer really, really strong price performance, good energy consumption characteristics. And I think that both GPUs as well as the AWS designed chips are going to be really important to our customers for years to come.
I do want to ask you a couple personal questions because not often we get to talk to leaders such as yourself. Do you have a rags to riches story? I'm looking off one of my notes here, and really I'm remembering the story as I'm speaking to you. Netflix founder Reed Hastings used to sell vacuum cleaners door to door. I mean, we all come from somewhere. Where do you come from, Adam?
Well, I was a management consultant for almost a decade, first decade of my career. And then this thing called the internet was happening. And it was incredibly exciting, and I wanted to get into that. And so I moved back to my hometown of Seattle, where I still am, and jumped into it and had an incredible, learning and fun, exhilarating experience for a few years. And then came to Amazon to help found AWS. And it's just been, that was 18 years, I guess for me it was 19 years ago, as we opened our doors with our first service a year later, 18 years ago. So it's just been an incredible ride. I feel very fortunate.
From a leadership perspective, what did you learn from one mistake that you have made along the way?
Early on, I probably was thinking about, we'd release these infrastructure services, storage and compute and database, and really focused on, IT and the data center. And I think that if I look back now, we've gone so much further up the stack, and we've gone all the way up to producing, real solutions for customers that are really integrated. Things like Amazon Connect, which is our contact center solution. And I probably underestimated, just how quickly there'd be demand for customers for us to push up that stack and really get to those full solutions.
Well, fair enough. We will not keep you any longer. We are very grateful for this time, given you are, in fact, running a surging business in Amazon Web Services. Adam Slipsey, good to see you. Good luck on the road ahead, and we will talk to you soon. Thanks for joining Opening Bid.
Thank you. It's great to be with you.